Hello, welcome. My name is Bill Murphy. The League of Women Voters of Fresno would like you to know what's at stake when you go to the polls on Tuesday, June 3rd for the primary election. So they've asked me to moderate a forum today in which we hope to learn from the candidates their views and positions on important issues connected with the office. The League of Women Voters is a nonpartisan organization. It does not endorse candidates or political parties. We're thankful for the Community Media Access Collaborative for their help in producing this forum. Our slate of candidates includes 4 people running for Fresno County Board of Supervisors, District 1. They are Blong, Xiong, John Flores, Brian Pacheco, and Gary Yep. Each candidate will make a 1-minute opening statement followed by questions from me. And then each candidate will have 1 minute to answer the questions, and a 30-second rebuttal will be allowed after that if desired. And finally, each candidate will make a 1-minute closing statement. Blong Xiong is going to be the first to offer his opening statement. 1 minute.
Thank you, sir. Hi, I'm Blong Xiong, Fresno City Council member, and thank you for the League of Women's Voters and CMAC for hosting this particular event. And I know we're going to be hearing a lot of stuff that impacts our community, whether we're talking about water, jobs, infrastructure, growth. But I hope that you're going to pay close attention to the experience that all of us bring to this particular position, this candidacy. In addition to the experience, please pay attention to the advocacy, what we're doing to serve our community, our diverse community. I've been fortunate enough to serve this city for 8 years, and in those 8 years have helped guide our city through the most toughest economic time that we've had. In addition, my capacity to work with smaller cities have really, I think, helped me grow to understand how important it is, what collaboration means in getting the job done. So I'm looking forward to continue to have your support, and thank you for this opportunity.
Thank you. John Flores will now give his opening statement for a minute.
Good morning. I want to first of all thank the League of Women Voters for having me here this morning. It's a privilege and honor to be here, and it's a privilege and honor to serve as a candidate for District 1 Supervisor. First of all, I am a full resident of Fresno County for 52 years, all my life. I am a husband of Lupe Flores and a father of 4. I have 4 grandchildren. Also, I'm a pastor of a church, also in Mendota. And I also have been a former city council member of Mendota for 8 years. And I know that bringing my experience to the table, I truly believe that I can help District 1 with all my skills and abilities that I've learned throughout the years. So I appreciate this time, and once again, thank the League of Women Voters.
Thank you. Brian Pacheco, your opening statement.
I also would like to thank the League of Women Voters for hosting this forum. I am Brian Pacheco. I'm 46 years old and a 4th-generation resident of Fresno County. I'm a businessman, school trustee, and family farmer. It is my goal to bring my business experience to help the economic development of our area and to create jobs. As a school board member, I've devoted over a decade of my life for the betterment of education for our children. Public education is vitally important to me, and our children are our future. Public safety is also very important in this race, and I'm very proud to be endorsed by Sheriff Margaret Mims and the Fresno Deputy Sheriff's Association. Everyone deserves to feel safe in their homes, irregardless of where you live. In addition, I've also received strong bipartisan support. I'm proud to have the support of our current supervisor, Phil Larson, and I have bipartisan support from around the valley. I bring a diverse background for the diverse culture and diversity of the people that I hope to represent, and I thank you for this opportunity.
Thank you. Gary Yep, your statement.
Is the red light on? Hi, I'm Gary Yep. I'm the mayor of Kerman. I also want to thank the League of Women Voters for giving us this opportunity to show our various viewpoints. I've been in business all my life. I was born and raised in Kerman. I was proud to graduate from Fresno City College, San Diego State University, and USF, University of San Francisco School of Law, and the McLaren School of Business. I ran for mayor in 2010, and as a result, we've taken our city to new heights. We have a reduced budget without raising taxes. We built a healthy reserve, and we focus more on infrastructure and economic growth. I'm a small business owner and a fiscal conservative. I'm proud to be endorsed by the Fresno County Republican Party, as well as the California Republican Assembly, and over a dozen mayors in the Central Valley. I'm the only Republican in this race, the only conservative in this race. I'm Gary Yep, the mayor of Kerman, small business owner, and thank you for the opportunity today.
Thank you. Now it's time for the questions. And the first will be John Flores. Mr. Flores, what background, experiences, and skills do you think make you the best candidate to represent District 1 as a supervisor?
First of all, I am a former city council member of the city of Mendota. During my whole time there, we had 8 years of balanced budget. We had numerous city projects throughout the city, roads, parks. We reestablished our police department as well, which had been gone for at least almost 20 years. And along with that, at the first time for the city of Mendota's history, we established a reserve that had never been done in the city's history of at least $500,000 to $650,000 reserve, which was never done before in the city's history. And that's because of our fiscal responsibility and our conservative spending. And like I said, it's made the city of Mendota a better community because of that. And I truly believe that having all that type of background and more will make District 1 a better county as well.
Thank you. Brian Pacheco.
Well, as I said in my opening statement, I'm a businessman, school trustee, and family farmer. I've devoted 20 years of my adult life to helping make our community better. A lot of it is through volunteer organizations. I just stepped down as president of the Fresno County Farm Bureau. Agricultural is the backbone of our county, and I have the experience and necessary needed. I'm pleased to also be endorsed by the California Farm Bureau because they know water is very important, and I have what it takes to bring water to this valley and be a strong advocate. My tenure in things such as the Human Resource Advisory Board, which is in the local nonprofits, and things serving as Community Regional Medical Center Board of Directors, I know healthcare is important. I have a very, very diverse background. So combined with my business experience, all of my advocacy for those that are less fortunate, I believe that I will bring a strong, diverse background to this seat and be an advocate for those who are generally underrepresented.
Thank you. Gary Yep, why do you think you're the best candidate?
As the only Republican in the race, I truly believe in the free market system. I believe that raising taxes is wrong for Fresno County, and I'd be the biggest advocate to give the money back to the taxpayers. As mayor of Kerman, I've shown what I can do. We've built a healthy reserve. We're on pace to have $2.2 million in reserves on a $4 million budget. Our bond rating recently was upgraded from an A- to an A from Standard & Poor's. Our crime rate is down about 20 to 40% depending on the various crime stats. Also, we've never raised taxes in Kerman. That's one thing I really want to point out because I think Fresno County needs to also do the same thing. And we also won an award for transparency in our budget. And that's something that needs to be focused on because a lot of people don't understand how the budget works. And as long as you can be very transparent in it, the average taxpayer understands what's going on and they become part of the process.
Thank you. Blong John.
Well, the only candidate that's ever had to govern a city that's half the size of the county, 500,000 folks. I mean, when we're talking about whether we're fighting for water, making infrastructure growth, regional plan, the city of Fresno continue and has to be the leadership in all those areas. But more importantly, as I've said in my opening statement as well, is having the capacity to work with our smaller cities, whether they be Kerman, Mendota, Fireball, San Joaquin, or those unincorporated as well. It's an important relationship that I think it's critical in moving our city forward, whether we're partnering with them to make sure that we're bringing state, federal infrastructure in, or how we move as regional planning. So those type of long-term experience matters in this, and how we work together matters in this. And I think those experiences already been shown how I've been able to work and move not only our city forward in the most toughest economic time, but in also in partnering with our smaller city as well.
Thank you. Brian Pacheco, Fresno County's general plan is undergoing a major review requiring approval by the Board of Supervisors. On a scale of 1 to 10, 1 meeting not at all important to 10 meeting extremely important, What priority would you give to land use planning? And give the reasons for your choice.
Well, land use planning is the highest priority, one of the highest priorities that the supervisors would make. I would rate it on a scale of a 9, only behind public safety. One of the main jobs of the supervisor is to lay out the plan that we will address in our growth in the upcoming years. Now, it's my understanding that the board has not taken action on the plan in some time until just as recent. Our plan needs to be updated every 5 years, and it's vitally important that we do that so that we have controlled growth and that we can develop those things that are important for our future. We need a mixed-use, balanced approach, and we need to collaborate with our partners in the city of Fresno so that we're all on the same page, because we do all live in the same county, and it is a high priority of the county, but we need to develop those mixed uses because then take that regional approach in a good partnership with our friends here in the city of Fresno.
Thank you. Gary Yep, what priority would you give to land use planning?
Land use planning has a very high priority. Whether you want to rate it between a 7 to a 10, it depends on how you want to use it. If you want to hurt the smaller communities, it's a 10, because smaller communities don't have the voice that larger communities have. And the larger communities have a chance to work the political process. So as a small town mayor, I believe it's a 10 because my community may not have the chance to negotiate fairly. As far as the land use planning, it's very important because it sets the policies for the next generation. And if we don't do it properly and use the public-private sectors evenly, we set the tone for the next 10 years that it doesn't work out properly.
Thank you. Blong John?
It's extremely important. I consider it one of the core services of what it likes to do when it comes to plan use. And for not having it updated, I mean, I think it's 14 years it's been behind. This EIR should be a full-blown, and it should go through a very lengthy process because it does determine the growth of the county and how it works with all the different cities. And to make sure that even the cities, even though they have their own general plan as they're moving forward, that the county general plan should coincide, should work collaboratively on how that regional planning and the growth is going to be. And don't forget, I mean, this planning also impacts our ag. I mean, we have the Williamson Ags out there, but without the proper planning for our land, the use, the Williamson Act cannot do it alone. So that's why it is so critical, and I consider whether it's public safety, you know, how we do that, to planning, to infrastructure, it is one of the critical core planning process. And having to work with the city of Fresno and our regional plan and our city growth plan, that's why I understand how important it is and what it means to not only for the cities, but to the county as well.
Thank you. John Flores, where do you stand on this?
Well, it's a priority for the whole county in general. A general update is always necessary because you got to know the weaknesses and the strengths of your county, where you're underdeveloped, where you're overdeveloped, where it needs to be helped out, and where areas on the outside and the regional areas or rural areas are weak. They need to be included and incorporated as well into these things because otherwise, like I said, they won't have a chance to grow and meet their full potentials as well. So, like I said, public safety, infrastructure, all those things are all important for the betterment of a community and a county as a whole.
All right, thank you. I don't suppose there's any rebuttal on that particular question. Gary Yep, Fresno County Council of Governments, known as COG, recently released its 2014 Regional Transportation Plan and its affiliated environmental impact report for a public comment period. It appears that the county is spending 60% of its capacity-enhancing funding on Northeast Fresno County. Are you supportive of the county focusing transportation funds in the northeast part of the county?
I sit on the Fresno County Council of Governments, and while you have 60% being allocated there, you also have more than their fair share of population. So if you look at the population density, it's a fair distribution according to that. But at the same time, as a small town mayor, I fought for the smaller communities in Fresno County to make sure that in the future we have a fair shake at the policies that are being laid down. I was instrumental in working with all the other mayors to set this strategic community strategy in line for the next go-round, and I'm proud of that.
All right, Long John?
Having served in COG in my initial capacity when I was elected, I think it's important that you have a voice there that's fighting for equity. Now, whether it's you know, allocated through 60% in the Northeast or not, I think it's important how we make sure that the transportation, because within the city of Fresno, we're the only region that has that type of density impact in terms of transportation and regional growth. And I was part of that original discussion in terms of the regional blueprint, how that was going to look and impact the city. And some of the things that we do need to meet in terms of the state requirements that we have with transportation issue. So we're going to have to address it through some of the regional planning and how it works within the city of Fresno and how it's going to be divided equitably. But making sure that we're also fighting for growth within the smaller city as well. I think that is extremely important, but also understanding what does the regional planning mean, where does transportation happen, and how it happens across the board.
Thank you. John Flores.
Never sitting on COG, never being a mayor, I don't know all the ins and outs of it. But when it comes to money allocations to what areas, I think all funding should be shared equally according to its growth and its necessity for all transportation needs, whether it's just small communities, large communities, unincorporated, incorporated, because we are a county as a whole. So wherever the more growth is necessary, it's happening. Obviously, it's going to need more money, but we're not to neglect the smaller communities who may be having transportation and road issues as well. So that's my view.
Thank you. Brian Pacheco.
Again, I would believe COG has done their due diligence with the fair equity of the money. However, I would just reiterate, again, we need to focus where our traffic is, but we can't forget our small areas of the population, whether you're in North Fresno, South Fresno, West Fresno, or small communities. Everyone deserves their fair share of those transportation dollars. We all travel throughout the city of Fresno and the county. And again, we can't forget our neighborhoods that have been around for a long time, and they have needs as well. So we can't just focus on the new aspects of it. We need to focus on our existing neighborhoods and help them along the way. I know Veterans Boulevard will be a huge, huge asset for all the people of the county in creating a greater and a safer thoroughfare. And we just need to focus again on all our communities and for that fair distribution of all the money.
Thank you. Now, Blong Xiong,
Sir.
what do you think are the most pressing issues related to mental health facing our county, and how do you see these issues tackled?
Services. The county has been cutting mental health services directly in terms of county direct services, and they've gone out to community organizations or smaller organizations to provide that services. With the budget cuts, I think it's important that we bring in different partnership. I was involved with working with the nonprofit that created the first mental health services for Southeast Asian populations. And it's those type of creative type of thinking that needs to happen. We have to also understand that it has to be the direct services that are grassroots. We have to address people at their place of comfort. Mental health is perceived by many of our community as a stigma. And we got to make sure that it's not, and that is something that we can provide. But we have to be committed to make sure that we're providing mental health service, making sure that the dollars that is going to mental health services go to organizations, go to entities that addresses mental health issues, and must be a preventive program too with our public safety issues. So mental health is a core service that we should be providing, and making sure that we're providing a diverse mechanism to reach our diverse community.
Thank you. John Flores, where do you stand on this?
Mental health it's a big problem, especially in these days. But it's a quality of life as well. I mean, you know, some people inherit mental issues and mental health issues, and some acquire them over time. But nonetheless, they all need to be addressed, and they all need to be helped. And whatever funding is available, it needs to be allocated to the groups, organizations, nonprofits, and all that are out there that are willing to do the work and put the time in doing it. It's not an easy thing dealing with mental health, but it's a problem that we have, but it's a problem that can be helped and fixed, and most of all bring comfort and hope to families who have to deal with these on a day in and day out basis. And so I think that's a priority that needs to be taken care of as well here in Fresno County.
Thank you. Brian Pacheco?
Mental health recently has come to the forefront of our community. It's one of the hot topics right now. And as I've said in the school district, when we allocate our resources, the county needs to have the same type of approach. Is where do you want to allocate the resources? The county does, even in a tight budget, has plenty of money. It's simply, where do you want to allocate those resources? And mental health is one of those critical issues that's been neglected, and we need to bring it to the forefront. It has a dramatic impact in our community. I did a ride-along with the Fresno Police Officers Association and saw the mental health the travesty occurring on our streets firsthand. It's also impacting our jails, causing a problem in the jails, and we need to address that and move it up to the priority list. There is money in the county to do it. Again, it just needs to be made a priority, and I'm willing to do that when I run for supervisor.
Thank you. Gary Yep.
As an advocate for the taxpayers, I would always look at everything, is it in the best interest of the taxpayers? Mental health programs can be pennies on the dollar if they're applied properly. And I would make sure that we would apply them properly to make sure that those people that need our services are taken care of properly. If you don't, then you're looking at dollars after dollar of taxpayer money to incarcerate people that should not have been incarcerated if we would have taken care of the problem efficiently and quickly and addressed it as it needed. So what I want to do is make sure that it's in the best interest of the taxpayers, we allocate the resources properly, and we fund everything that we need to fund logically.
Thank you. Any rebuttal? Okay. John Flores. A shortage of comprehensive health services for children has been a particular issue here. How might we harness our local resources to address our shortcomings?
Well, once again, whether it's mental health or whatever it may be, it's a quality of life for each family, each individual. We just have to harness all of our resources available, whether we could use nonprofits, organizations out there willing to help at all levels to make things better for our young children. And without their help, it's going to be a hard thing to do just on our own, but as a county as a whole, as far as finances and everything else. So we need all the help we can get out there. So, but yeah, it's a quality of life issue. And I think every child should have its fair opportunity at the best quality of life made available to them.
All right. Brian Pacheco, a shortage of comprehensive health services for children. How do we address this?
Access to health care is very, very important. And what we've done in the Kerman Unified School District is we actually partnered with a nonprofit health care clinic, and we established a health care clinic right on one of our school campuses. It was a pilot project throughout the state, but we felt it was necessary because being in Kerman, we are in a poorer region of the county, and we felt access is so important that we devoted the resources, the time, and our talents to make that a reality for our people. Now they have easy access to a health clinic, both our students and the people of the community at large. Healthcare is very, very important, and as Mr. Flores says, it is a quality of life, and everyone, irregardless of your ability to pay, deserves access to healthcare, and it's our duty as a supervisor to take care of those that are less fortunate.
Thank you. Gary Yep, shortage of comprehensive health services for children. What do we do about it?
Well, I think you need to address the problem head on, and I think in Kerman we have two facilities that do that, Valley Health Team and United Health Centers. One is on the Kerman High School Kerman School campus. But we need to look at other problems. It's how we address those problems, whether we look at the short-term and the long-term applications of those issues. And one of the things that we've done to help our community out is we kept all of our parks open. We've kept everything open so the services that we have as a city can help the smaller community. And if we have healthier people, that addresses that. From the Fresno County Board of Supervisors level, you need to address those issues, whether it's child protective services, whether it's the child services for this program. We need to address it in the best interest of the taxpayers using the long and short-term planning strategies.
Thank you. Blong Xiong?
Well, especially within the county, I mean, we're technically in charge of the health services to all of our residents here. And so whether we're working with First Five to make sure that we're helping them reach out to all of our families, and especially our children, to working with the children's movement, making sure that we have a program that supports those, or even with the transition of the Affordable Care Act, we have to do a better job in terms of outreach because the programs are there. Getting the information out to our families, making sure that our children are enrolled is critically important. And I've worked within the community organizations from different organizations out there to make sure that we do that, whether it's partnering with Cover California through different clinical series, like Clinica Sierras and also community health centers. We have to make sure that the outreach mechanism reaches our diverse community. And we have not done a good job, especially when the county turned down $20 million to transition our community. It hurt us and made sure that we're behind the process. And that hurts, at the end of the day, our children.
Thank you. Any rebuttal? All right. Brian Pacheco, according to a recent Fresno Bee article, We in the Fresno-Clovis area are fortunate to have a fairly large aquifer of fresh water to tap for our needs. However, continuous pumping might deplete this resource. What steps do you favor to maintain our access to clean water?
Well, when you deal with water, water basically comes down to storage, conveyance, and underground water. Our system was designed here in the valley that we have surface water to irrigate all of our farms and to take care of all of our cities. In 1991, with the Central Valley Improvement Act, that changed. The environmental priority got moved up, and we had a reallocation of the resources. Many people, whether it's the cities or the farms, do not want to rely on underground groundwater because it's more expensive and it's simply unsustainable. So the solution is we need to have a comprehensive approach. All solutions will run through the Delta. The best way to keep our groundwater safe is to find those solutions, restore our water through the Delta, and give our cities and our farmers the surface water that they need, because groundwater is a finite resource and we need to protect it for all the citizens of our community.
Thank you. Gary Yep, how do we maintain our access to clean water?
Well, I think that you have to understand that the problem that's occurring right now is based upon what's happened in Washington and Sacramento. And I think we need to lobby with one voice as Fresno County and say, hey, we won't put up with this anymore. Because what's coming down the pipeline is we will be regulated on groundwater, we'll be regulated on surface water, and we'll be regulated on everything that we do from pesticides to environmental controls. So I'm going to be an advocate for less restriction, less government controls, and less taxes. I think you need to be on the forefront. I think you need to understand what's coming down the pipeline, and you need to say enough is enough. We need to fight for what's right for Fresno County. We need to fight what's right for the city of Fresno. We need to fight what's right for the county of Fresno. And let's take it back to Sacramento, and let's take it back to Washington, D.C.
Thank you. Blong John?
Well, I remember that meeting clearly with our council colleagues in Clovis, and we did get a great update in terms of our aquifer and how plentiful that the possibility is. But as you know, we've drawn a lot more water than we put back in, and that's why the city has actually moved to build our infrastructure to make sure that we begin to bring that water back so that all of our residents can turn in the tap and then they get clean tap water. But it is true. I mean, these are short-term and long-term. There's a long-term strategy, and that's why I think many of the cities, including the city of Fresno, supported the prayer resolution in terms of making sure that we're providing storage, conveyance, and making sure that we have opportunities to come back and rebuild underground water. And the good thing about that particular bill is that hopefully it gives us an opportunity to go for after state or federal money to allow us to rebuild some of the aquifers that we've lost and the infrastructure that we need in addition to what we've had to build in terms of our bond. We need to make sure that our city, as Mayor Kerman said, that it is a single voice, that we're fighting for the Valley, and that the Valley has done its part. We need San Francisco and LA to do their part and to make sure that they're contributing to the Valley.
Thank you. John Flores?
Okay, first of all, you know, as a county as a whole, first of all, our responsibility is to make sure that all of our communities in our district have clean drinking water to begin with. Little towns like Three Rocks and Cantua Creek and communities like that, you know, unincorporated communities like that. First of all, we need to make sure they have their proper clean drinking water as well. And apart from that, as Mr. Pacheco was saying, we've pumped out more than we've replenished. So we got to come back to storage, and we got to do our part to put the infrastructure in to make sure we could get that. If we need proper filtering systems, and we got to go that method as well. So we got to make sure that we all have safe drinking water. But our number one priorities is making sure that our outlined areas have, you know, clean drinking water to begin with. That's our first responsibility, and then take the next challenge on after that.
All right, Brian Pacheco. No, this time it will be Gary Yep. The question I have is, there are various methods that people are recommending for solving our water problem in California, and one of them involves building more dams, and there are other possibilities. What do you think we should do?
Well, the most important part for Fresno County is storage. I mean, one of the main issues that we have is we don't have enough storage, and temperance plant would be the great start. The other issue is we do a handshake deal, we do a blood oath, we sign a contract, and before the ink is dry, we got screwed on it. And so what happens is we can cut a deal with people in the federal government and the state government, and all of a sudden the environmentalists take over and we don't have a chance to voice our opinions. So one is, if we have to speak with one voice to say, hey, enough is enough, we need to take back our county. We need to take back and have one voice to Sacramento and Washington, D.C. and say, we want our water back. We want our natural allocation of water. We want storage. We want conveyance, and we want to make sure that our groundwater isn't regulated, because we want to make sure that Fresno County is going to be here for the next generation. And as a taxpayer advocate, I want to make sure that that's done properly without using taxpayer money.
Blong, what should we be doing?
Well, it's not a one solution. One solution is not going to work. It's going to be important that we look at a whole solution. As I've said before, we supported the Prairie Belt. We think that gives us the most opportunities because it's addressing all those issues that we're looking at in long terms. Whether it's storage, underground, money that's going to have to come back and help us do our job. But more importantly, it's continuing the fight. I mean, we were here about the drought 4 years ago. I remember marching, from Mendota to Fireball, and it's taken us a full cycle to come back with this drought for our folks to realize that in LA, San Francisco, that the valley matters, the water impact here matters, and that we have a great opportunity here to pass a water bond that makes sense, that provide a long-term solution for this valley and for this state. That's really the long-term solution. But for the short term, we need immediate water right now. We have to have that voice to say we need our allocation to make sure that our West Side farmers are getting the water they need, because that has to do with jobs, that has to do with families, that has to do with quality of life. So we have to address the short term, but also make sure that we approve the long-term solution for the water issues that we have here.
John Flores?
First of all, we need a voice. We need a voice in Sacramento. We need a voice in Washington. I think we here locally, whether we're council members, mayors, or potential supervisors, we need to keep our legislators that represent us there, keep their feet to the fire concerning our voice and our need of water. And if that means going through supporting and all current and future legislation that benefits our county as far as water storage, above ground, below ground, dams, whatever is necessary. We need a voice. That's the problem. When it comes to water, we never have a voice. I mean, I think all of us agree here that we have a voice locally. We're speaking up, but we're not being heard in other places. And that's what we need to do. We need to speak loud. We need to hold our legislators to feet to the fire and tell them we want our water back. We want our way of life back. I mean, we're an agricultural community in District 1 and the county as a whole. So we need our water, we need our way of life, and we need a voice.
Brian Pacheco.
Again, storage and conveyance are the key to this issue. And again, all solutions run through the Delta. Again, we need to address both our federal and our state representatives, because there's where the solution lies, is with our elected officials. And again, that's why as a candidate, I'm running on a bipartisan support, because I believe the people are tired of sitting in their respective camps, throwing rocks at one another, and just not getting a solution. The United States Senate has a solution, the House of Representatives has a solution, but they can't simply get together to find that common ground that that's benefiting, will benefit all of the people in our community. Again, we need to find common ground and work with one another across the aisle to find the solutions, because in the end, it's the people that are paying the price, and we need the water. Thank you.
Yes, rebuttal?
Yeah, but if the only thing that the farmers have is to throw rocks, that's all you can throw, because every time that we've ever asked for a solution, right, it's been shoved down our throat, because whether it's a kangaroo rat or a fish or a tortoise or whatever, Washington and Sacramento haven't listened to what we had to say. They've made agreements with us, and at the last minute they broke those agreements, and that's why our farmers are in this position now. That's why in the next 5 to 10 years, our surface water is going to be regulated, our groundwater is going to be regulated, and they're going to make us pay a bigger tax to have a conveyance system. So while it's throwing rocks and you want to make it a partisan issue, look at the people that were in power that did this to us and the farmers.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Well, as I've said, even though it's taken us a long time, you look at the initial drought that we've had that impacted on the west side, 50 to 61% employment. As I've said, it's come back full cycle, full circle. But the dynamic has changed. Here's an opportunity as we talk about working across boundaries, borders, or partisanship, that the state is ready to move for a state water bond. We need to continue to be pushing. We need to continue to be consistent how we do that. And I think this is a great opportunity to really reach out across the aisles, from at least from us locally here, making sure that a state legislator understand how important this water bond is. Here is an opportunity. The number says an opportunity, and the state is ready to move. We need to make sure that we keep putting the pressure. Yes, it takes a while, but at least we're here.
And again,
Yes, John.
Once again, I come from a community of 50% of unemployment. I've seen what it's done to our communities out there, and it's created a hardship that should never have ever happened. I mean, people have been just getting too relaxed in Washington and Sacramento, and we here locally, once again, we gotta hold them accountable for what they're doing and not doing. And the water bond issues, those are all great and well, but we gotta make sure we have enough money to do it all. If we're gonna do it, let's do it right. Let's do it once and do it right.
Brian Pacheco?
again, I believe we should learn from the past, but we can't live in the past. We need to focus on the future. And what happened in the past, we need to put that aside and focus on the future, because our future relies on water. And it's continuing here to throw stones across the aisle. We need a solution. We need people who, when elected, will be able to reach across the aisle, work with everyone to find a solution, because in the end, without that solution, us here in the county, we are the ones paying the ultimate price.
Thank you. And now, each candidate will have the opportunity for a 1-minute closing statement. And the first is going to be from Gary Yep.
I want to thank the League of Women Voters for this debate today, for giving me the opportunity to discuss our differences between myself and my opponents. I want to show that I'm the best candidate for District 1. I'm the mayor of Kerman. I'm a small business owner, and I've made sure that the taxpayers of Kerman have been taken care of properly. All of our parks are open, our crime rate is down, our bond rating is up, and we've done everything that you need to do as a community for Fresno County. We have the lowest garbage rates, we have the lowest water rates. To summarize this debate, Brian is being Brian. He's conservative when he wants to be, and he's liberal when he needs to be. It shows in this program today. Blong is wrong for Fresno County. In the last 8 years, what has Fresno County done right since Blong has been there? I'm the only Republican in the race. I'm the only conservative in the race. I'm the only candidate that's the twice-elected mayor of Kerman. And in 2014, yep, we can make Fresno County better. Thank you.
Thank you. Long John?
No, and thank you for the League of Women Voters and also CMAC. And as I've said, hopefully that you're paying attention to the experience that we bring, and equally important is the advocacy. As I've said, experience is about governing. Governing is different than sitting on a commission, than sitting on a board, and representing folks. Governing is an opportunity to really work hard for the largest city in the Central Valley, the 5th largest in the state, and then also being able to work with the smaller cities. So technically, I've been working representing not only the city of Fresno, but also working collaboratively for the county as well. But advocacy is important. Once elected, will you believe that an elected person will be an advocate and fight for folks? So here's the advocacy side, folks. Whether it's the water march that I participated in, that was 5 years ago, to the immigration rally, which is very extremely important for us, and standing with our Latino electeds in terms of opposing the MISP cut, or fighting for Measure Gs for working families in our community, or fighting to make sure that our educational money from local funding gets to the parents, gets to the people. Those are the things that I've done and fought advocately for our community in a public setting, whether it's in the front, on the side, or behind folks. Those are criteria that you should have as an elected official, not only be a policymaker, but fight for our diverse community and have a representation that is fair and equitable. That's a track record that you want as your next Board of Supervisor. Thank you.
Thank you. John Flores.
Well, first I want to thank the League of Women also. We could all sit up here and speak about our accomplishments and all that we've done in our times of office, whether it's as a mayor, as a council member, former council member, sitting school board member, and that's all good. And I think we all bring something to the table, as you can tell. We all have different views, we all have different abilities and skills. But those true abilities and skills can be truly recognized, thoroughly, to what we all can do until we're put in the position. Until you're put in the position, then your true abilities and skills will come out. And the thing about it is, when it comes to the supervisor race, is once November's vote's over, even this one here in June, after 4 years after November's vote, will you say, I made a good choice? I picked the right guy. I truly believe if you do that, if you choose me as your next supervisor, I truly believe in 4 years after November's vote, you will be able to say that about me. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Brian Pacheco, you get the last word.
Again, I'd like to thank the League for this opportunity. My family has been in this community for 4 generations. I'm a lifelong farmer, a businessman, a school trustee, and an advocate for our school children. I want Fresno to be safer, more business friendly, and to provide us with a better quality of life. As a school board member, I believe in the importance of education and have done everything I can for the betterment of our children and to expand those vocational educational programs. I'm a businessman. I've served as a chairman of a $4 billion company. I'm not a professional politician. I am a real-world problem solver. And if you want to rise up above the partisan politics and just have someone to get the job done, then I am your candidate. As the Fresno Bee said in their endorsement of me, I have the capability and the skills to hit the ground running, and I will be an advocate for those that are traditionally underserved. Once again, I'm Brian Pacheco, a 4th-generation resident of this district, and I'd be honored to earn your support in this election. Thank you.
Thank you, gentlemen. You've been watching a forum organized by the League of Women Voters of Fresno with the production assistance by the Community Media Access Collaborative of Fresno. I'm Bill Murphy. Thanks for watching.